Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're tackling a topic that really resonates with a lot of folks, managing ADHD symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about those everyday challenges, focus, keeping organized, those moments where your memory just seems to slip and handling those big emotions.
Exactly. And for people with ADHD, these aren't just like minor inconveniences. They can seriously affect daily life, work, well-being.
Right.
So that's why we're diving into a tool that might seem simple, but can have surprisingly big benefits. Journaling.
Journaling, yeah, it sounds straightforward, but the potential seems, well, pretty significant for making positive changes. We're particularly interested in how a well-designed journal notebook can become this structured space.
Yeah. Adaptable too.
Adaptable, exactly. For managing tasks, breaking down those huge projects, even just processing emotions day to day. And we've looked at Listallian journals before.
Oh, we have.
And they have some features that seem really, really well suited for this purpose.
They really do seem to fit the bill. Listallian notebooks, they're known for that smooth paper, the kind that doesn't bleed through, and they feel pretty durable.
Quality matters, definitely.
It does. But beyond just feeling nice, features like their numbered pages and that built-in table of contents, well, they offer a basic structure.
Okay.
And that structure can be incredibly helpful for building habits, keeping things organized areas that are often tough spots for someone with ADHD.
That structure point is interesting. I actually have a friend, Mark. Super creative guy, but always felt overwhelmed by deadlines. Like he was just
Chasing his tail?
totally chasing his tail. He tried digital apps, but things still felt kind of scattered. He did say, though, that using a physical notebook felt different, more grounding somehow.
Mm-hmm. That tactile element.
Yeah. And it makes me think how specific features, like the ones in Listallian notebooks, could really boost those benefits. So, okay, let's get into it. How does just writing things down actually help manage ADHD?
Well, it's interesting because daily journaling can directly target some core ADHD challenges. For adults, it can really help sharpen focus.
How so?
By creating a visual map of your tasks, essentially. You're making an external point for your attention to land on.
Okay, like getting it out of your head.
Exactly. And it can also help reduce impulsivity, giving yourself that dedicated space to pause, maybe reflect before you act. And naturally, it just promotes better organization as you start structuring thoughts and tasks on paper.
That makes a lot of sense, taking those racing thoughts and giving them like a physical form. I've heard people mention the bullet journal method too. How does that fit in?
Yeah, bullet journaling. It's really well suited for breaking down those big, complex tasks, the ones that feel totally overwhelming sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Definitely know that feeling.
Right. So you can use it to make specific lists, reminders, figure out what needs attention first, break it all down into smaller, more manageable steps. That clarity can really cut down on stress and give you a better sense of control.
And you mentioned the paper in Listallian journals. It's that thicker 120 GSM stuff. It might seem like a small thing, but does paper quality actually make a difference for someone managing ADHD?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it. You're trying to focus, right? And your pen ink is bleeding through the page, creating visual clutter, maybe messing up what you wrote on the other side.
Yeah, that's distracting.
It's just another unnecessary sensory distraction.
Mm-hmm.
Listallian's paper is specifically designed to prevent that bleed through.
Yeah.
I actually remember my sister, she's juggling a crazy job. 2 kids tried using a regular cheap notebook for planning.
Oh, yeah.
Got so frustrated with the ink bleeding everywhere, she just gave up. Said it made her feel more disorganized.
Yeah.
So having that smooth, clean page in something like a Listallian, it really helps create a more focused, less visually noisy experience.
Yeah, minimizing those little frustrations. That can make or break sticking with a habit, can it?
Definitely.
Okay, let's go a bit deeper into those common challenges we mentioned. Forgetfulness, impulsivity, getting stuck in hyperfocus on one thing, general disorganization. How does a journal, especially one with these kinds of thoughtful design features, act as a coping tool here?
Well, if you think about it, the journal kind of becomes an external cognitive aid, like an outsourced part of your brain.
Okay, I like that. External aid.
Yeah.
Huh.
So for forgetfulness, it's your reliable place for tasks, dates, important bits of info. For impulsivity, that physical act of writing, it can create a vital pause.
A beat to think.
Exactly. A lead to think before acting on an urge. Hyperfocus. That can be tricky, but you can use the journal to consciously plan and block out time for different tasks. Help stop you getting totally lost in one thing while others pile up.
Right, actively managing the focus.
And for disorganization.
Right.
Well, the journal provides that tangible structure, a framework to bring some order to the mental chaos.
So it's not just a brain dump, it's got that built-in structure guiding things. And Italian journals have those dashed lines instead of solid ones, which I thought was kind of unique. How does that little detail help someone with ADHD?
That's actually a really good point about adaptability. Those dashed lines offer amazing flexibility.
Mm.
They're faint enough not to get in the way if you're just writing normally,
Right.
but they provide this subtle grid if you want visual organization. Someone might use them to sketch out mind maps, visually link ideas, break down a complex project.
Oh, interesting. So for visual thinkers.
Exactly.
Mm.
Or you could just use them as guides to split a page into sections for different things, work tasks, personal notes, whatever. I have a colleague, very visual person, found the dashed lines in their Listallion were perfect for drawing project timelines. Made it way easier to see the big picture and stay on track.
That's a fantastic example how a small design choice makes a real difference. Okay, let's circle back to the specific Listallion features. Numbered pages, table of contents, why are they so important in this context?
Well, what's really useful there is how they tackle a common frustration point for people with ADHD, losing track of information. That feeling of, I know I wrote it down somewhere.
Ugh, yes, that's the worst.
Right, so the numbered pages give you a clear reference system, and the built-in table of contents lets you create your own index. Key topics, ideas, important tasks.
Mm,
Remember my sister struggling with scattered notes?
yeah.
Imagine if she could just flip to her table of contents and find that page with her brainstorming for the new business idea or notes from that important client call. It turns the journal from just a pile of entries into an actual usable, organized resource.
Right, making information findable when you actually need it. Huge. And we've mentioned the high-quality paper, the 120 GSM no-bleed stuff, great for a smooth, distraction-free experience. What about the actual feel of the journal? Listallion uses that soft faux leather cover. Is there a practical benefit there beyond just looking nice?
Thinking about habit formation, the actual tactile experience does matter. It really does. A cover that's soft but still durable makes the journal comfortable to hold to carry around.
Makes you want to pick it up.
Exactly. It encourages using it every day. It feels good if it's pleasant to use. You're just more likely to make it part of your routine. It
Yeah.
becomes a reliable companion you want to have with you, not some clunky thing you leave on the shelf.
Makes perfect sense. Removing any barrier, any friction to building that consistent journaling habit. Okay, so we've covered how journaling helps and the specific design bits in Listallion that support that. Let's talk practical strategies. Mind mapping, Pomodoro, task chunking, habit tracking, brain dumping, these all sound super relevant. How do you actually do these effectively in a journal?
Think of the journal as your personal command center. Mind mapping. You use a whole page, maybe let those dashed lines guide the structure, visually explore ideas.
Okay.
The Pomodoro technique, super easy to track. Just jot down your 25-minute work blocks and breaks.
Yep.
It's a visual record of your focused time.
Like a little log.
Yeah, exactly. Task chunking is just listing out the smaller steps of a big task and ticking them off as you go. Very satisfying, that tick.
Oh, definitely.
Daily habit tracking can get its own section. Simple check marks for hydration, sleep, exercise, whatever you're monitoring, and brain dumping. That's just pure release. Open a page, let all those swirling thoughts out onto the paper, get some mental quiet.
Just pour it all out.
The beauty is the journal holds all of this. It's the hub. And features like in Listallion, the space, the good paper that takes different pens or even sketches, the numbered pages maybe for looking back at old brain dumps. It all works together to support these strategies.
It really does sound like this personalized toolkit, managing your day, managing your headspace. Now we have this story about Alex, a 28-year-old graphic designer. Sounds like their experience really shows these ideas in action.
Yes, Alex's story is a perfect example of how journaling can be genuinely transformative for managing ADHD.
Yeah.
You've got someone facing those classic executive function hurdles, deadlines always looming, that constant mental clutter.
Feeling overwhelmed.
Totally overwhelmed, feeling like they're always behind. And naturally, that was leading to more anxiety, more stress.
Been there. And they found journaling, specifically using a Listallion notebook, right?
That's right. Alex started simply, just writing down daily to-do lists. But what's interesting is how it grew from there.
It evolved.
It really did. They started adding habit tracking, logging moods to see patterns, using the journal for brainstorming design ideas, which is crucial for their work.
And that built-in table of contents in the Listallion, that was particularly helpful for Alex, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely critical for anyone, but maybe especially with ADHD, that feeling of having a great idea and then Poof, where did I write that down? It's so frustrating.
So frustrating.
It's a table of contents let Alex quickly find specific pages. That crucial client task list, that spark of genius from 3 days ago, it wasn't lost in a sea of notes. It stopped valuable ideas from just vanishing.
Yeah, prevented the lost idea syndrome. And the results for Alex sounds like it really made a difference. The impact was huge. Tasks started feeling more manageable. Their focus genuinely improved. That underlying hum of stress started to fade. Journaling basically became Alex's key strategy for managing their ADHD.
Wow.
And it positively affected their work, their personal life, just their overall feeling of well-being. It really shows how a structured yet flexible tool, especially one with those thoughtful features, can empower someone to feel more in control.
That's a really powerful story, a great illustration of everything we've been talking about. So
Yeah.
as we wrap up this deep dive, what are the main takeaways? Using a journal notebook for ADHD symptoms.
Well, to sum it up, we've seen how journaling can really boost focus, giving tasks that external shape. It improves productivity by helping break down big projects and track progress. It supports emotional regulation, offering that safe space. And ultimately, it enhances organization, giving you a real system for managing thoughts and responsibilities. And notebooks like Stallions, with those specific features, they seem to genuinely elevate that whole experience, make it more effective, maybe even more enjoyable. That thick, no-bleed paper cutting down distractions. The numbered pages and table of contents providing essential structure for finding things later, and even the durable cover encouraging that daily habit. It all adds up to a reliable tool.
Precisely. Whether the biggest struggle is time management or impulsivity or just feeling swamped by racing thoughts, the right kind of journal can offer both the structure and the space needed to make some real positive changes.
So if you're listening and you've been searching for a practical, powerful tool to maybe increase self-awareness, boost productivity, perhaps it's time to think about starting your own ADHD journaling journey.
Couldn't hurt to try.
Grab a notebook, maybe one like a Stallion with those helpful features we've discussed, and just see. See if it helps you gain a bit more control over your routines, your goals, and, your overall well-being.
And building on that, here's a final thought for you to mull over. Think about one specific area in your daily life, or maybe one particular goal you have, where having a more structured, tangible system for tracking and planning could make a real difference. What might that look like for you? And how could bringing journaling into that picture help you move forward?